The iridescent spires of Port Haven stretched toward the purple sky, their crystalline surfaces reflecting the light of three moons. Among the busy trading posts and merchant ships, Senna moved like a shadow, her silver-flecked skin marking her as a meridian, one of the most graceful species in the galaxy. But unlike her kin who walked with pride, she kept her head down, trying to hide the distinct pattern of broken starbursts across her face that marked her as different. In Meridian culture, imperfect patterns were considered signs of genetic degradation. Senna's unusual markings had led to her family quietly abandoning her in this bustling spaceport 3 cycles ago. She survived by doing odd jobs for merchants, her natural talent for languages making her valuable despite her outcast status. The day everything changed started like any other. Senna was helping sort cargo manifests when a new ship docked, the Star Wanderer, a human vessel that stood out among the sleeker alien crafts. Its captain, Finn Harrison, caught her eye immediately. Unlike most humans who visited Port Haven, he moved with an easy grace that reminded her of her own people. "You understand Centaurian script?" he asked, noticing her working on manifests. His voice carried a warmth that made her look up despite herself. "Yes," she replied softly, "and 12 other trading languages." She waited for the usual reaction, the slight recoil when humans noticed her broken patterns, but it didn't come. Instead, Finn smiled, creating pleasant crinkles around his green eyes. "That's impressive. I'm looking for someone to help me negotiate some delicate trades. Would you be interested?" Before Senna could respond, a group of Meridian traders passed by. Their whispers carried clearly to her sensitive ears. "Broken one, shame to our kind." Finn's expression darkened as he caught their tone, if not their words. "I take it those weren't friendly greetings." Senna touched her facial markings self-consciously. "My patterns, they're wrong. Among my people it means I'm defective." "Defective?" Finn's voice held genuine confusion. "They look like constellations to me, beautiful ones." The simple sincerity in his words made her heart flutter. No one had ever described her markings as beautiful before. Over the next few days, Senna helped Finn navigate Port Haven's complex trading networks. She found herself drawn to his curious nature and the way he treated everyone from wealthy merchants to dock workers with the same respect. One evening, as they finished a successful trade deal, Finn noticed her rubbing her temples. "Headaches?" he asked with concern. "Sometimes it's getting worse," she admitted. Among her people, such weakness would never be acknowledged. "Have you seen a medical specialist?" Senna laughed bitterly. "No one here treats broken ones. It's considered a waste of resources." Finn was quiet for a moment, then spoke with determination. "Come with me." "What?" "My next stop is New Terra. They have the best xenobiological medical facilities in this sector, and they don't care about patterns or cultural stigmas." "I can't just leave." But even as she spoke, Senna realized there was nothing truly holding her here except fear of the unknown. "Why not?" Finn challenged gently. "You're brilliant at languages, understand multiple cultures, and frankly, you're the best negotiator I've ever worked with. I'm offering you a job, a chance to see the stars, and maybe find some people who can help with those headaches." "Your people, they wouldn't mind someone like me on their ship." Finn stepped closer, and for the first time, Senna didn't flinch away when someone approached. "Humans are pretty good at seeing past surface differences. We had to learn that lesson the hard way over centuries. Besides," he smiled that warm smile again, "I think you'd fit right in with my odd little crew." As the 3 moons rose higher in the purple sky, Senna looked at her reflection in one of Port Haven's crystalline spires. Her broken patterns seemed to shimmer differently in the moonlight, almost like they were reaching for the stars above. "When do we leave?" she asked, turning back to Finn. His smile broadened. "First light tomorrow, welcome aboard the Star Wanderer." As Senna packed her few belongings that night, she felt something she hadn't experienced since being abandoned: hope. Perhaps among the stars, guided by this unusual human who saw beauty where others saw flaws, she might find more than just healing. She might find somewhere she truly belonged. Life aboard the Star Wanderer was unlike anything Senna had experienced. The small crew of 5 humans welcomed her without hesitation, and for the first time she found herself sharing meals and stories rather than hiding in shadows. But it was Finn who constantly drew her attention, his quiet strength and gentle humor making her feel increasingly at ease. 2 weeks into their journey, Senna sat in the ship's observation deck, watching starlight stream past the viewport. The headaches had lessened since leaving Port Haven, as if distance from her people's judgment had physical healing properties. "Credit for your thoughts," Finn settled beside her, offering a steaming cup of tea. "I was thinking about patterns," she said, accepting the drink. "How humans don't seem to have any." Finn chuckled. "Oh, we have patterns, they're just not visible on our skin." He rolled up his sleeve, revealing a tattoo of intertwining lines that reminded her of stellar maps. Some of us choose to wear our patterns on the outside. It's beautiful, Senna murmured, reaching out instinctively before catching herself. Touch between species was still new territory. You can touch it, Finn said softly. I don't mind. Her fingers traced the lines on his arm, and she felt his pulse quicken beneath her touch. The moment held an intimacy that both thrilled and frightened her. A warning chime from the ship's computer broke the spell. Incoming transmission from Port Haven, the automated voice announced. The message that followed would change everything. Trader vessel Star Wanderer, this is Dahlia of House Luminara. I seek passage to New Terra. My sister travels with you. Senna's cup slipped from her fingers, shattering on the deck. Dahlia, she whispered, my sister. The next port brought a face Senna had never expected to see again. Dahlia stood at the docking bay, her perfect patterns glowing with health and status. Unlike Senna's broken starbursts, Dahlia's facial markings formed perfect geometric shapes that marked her as elite. Little sister, Dahlia's voice carried none of the warmth the term suggested. You've caused quite a stir running away with humans. I didn't run away, Senna stood straighter, feeling Finn's supportive presence behind her. I was discarded, remember. Things change, the family council has reconsidered your status. They want you to return. Finn stepped forward. Why now? Dahlia's perfect features showed a flicker of annoyance at his intervention. Family matters are private, human. Not when they involve my crew. Finn's voice remained pleasant, but Senna heard the steel beneath. Later, in Finn's private quarters, the truth emerged. They've discovered something about your condition, Dahlia admitted. Your patterns. They're not degradation, they're evolution. Senna stared at her sister. What? Others have appeared showing similar markings, and they all share your gift for languages, your heightened empathy. The council believes you're part of a genetic advancement, not a regression. So now they want me back, Senna's laugh held no humor, now that I'm potentially valuable. You're still family, Dahlia insisted. No, Senna's voice shook. Family doesn't abandon their own. These humans, this crew, they're my family now. That night, unable to sleep, Senna found herself back on the observation deck. Finn joined her without a word, simply offering his presence. Would you go back, he asked finally. If you wanted to return, I'd understand. Senna turned to face him, really looking at him. His features were so different from her people's, the subtle. Life aboard the Star Wanderer was unlike anything Senna had experienced. The small crew of 5 humans welcomed her without hesitation, and for the first time she found herself sharing meals and stories rather than hiding in shadows. But it was Finn who constantly drew her attention, his quiet strength and gentle humor making her feel increasingly at ease. 2 weeks into their journey, Senna sat in the ship's observation deck, watching starlight stream past the viewport. The headaches had lessened since leaving Port Haven, as if distance from her people's judgment had physical healing properties. Credit for your thoughts, Finn settled beside her, offering a steaming cup of tea. I was thinking about patterns, she said, accepting the drink. How humans don't seem to have any. Finn chuckled. Oh, we have patterns, they're just not visible on our skin. He rolled up his sleeve, revealing a tattoo of intertwining lines that reminded her of stellar maps. Some of us choose to wear our patterns on the outside. It's beautiful, Senna murmured, reaching out instinctively before catching herself. Touch between species was still new territory. You can touch it, Finn said softly. I don't mind. Her fingers traced the lines on his arm, and she felt his pulse quicken beneath her touch. The moment held an intimacy that both thrilled and frightened her. A warning chime from the ship's computer broke the spell. Incoming transmission from Port Haven, the automated voice announced. The message that followed would change everything. Trader vessel Star Wanderer, this is Dahlia of House Luminara. I seek passage to New Terra. My sister travels with you. Senna's cup slipped from her fingers, shattering on the deck. Dahlia, she whispered, my sister. The next port brought a face Senna had never expected to see again. Dahlia stood at the docking bay, her perfect patterns glowing with health and status. Unlike Senna's broken starbursts, Dahlia's facial markings formed perfect geometric shapes that marked her as elite. Little sister, Dahlia's voice carried none of the warmth the term suggested. You've caused quite a stir running away with humans. I didn't run away, Senna stood straighter, feeling Finn's supportive presence behind her. I was discarded, remember. Things change, the family council has reconsidered your status. They want you to return. Finn stepped forward. Why now? Dahlia's perfect features showed a flicker of annoyance at his intervention. Family matters are private, human. Not when they involve my crew. Finn's voice remained pleasant, but Senna heard the steel beneath. Later, in Finn's private quarters, the truth emerged. They've discovered something about your condition, Dahlia admitted. Your patterns. They're not degradation, they're evolution. Senna stared at her sister. What? Others have appeared showing similar markings, and they all share your gift for languages, your heightened empathy. The Council believes you're part of a genetic advancement, not a regression. So now they want me back, Senna's laugh held no humor, now that I'm potentially valuable. You're still family, Dahlia insisted. No, Senna's voice shook. Family doesn't abandon their own. These humans, this crew, they're my family now. That night, unable to sleep, Senna found herself back on the observation deck. Finn joined her without a word, simply offering his presence. Would you go back, he asked finally. If you wanted to return, I'd understand. Senna turned to face him, really looking at him. His features were so different from her people's, the subtle angles of his jaw, the warmth in his green eyes, the way his dark hair caught the starlight. But it wasn't his appearance that made her heart race, it was everything else about him. My place is here, she said softly, reaching out to touch his face. Her fingertips traced his features the way they had traced his tattoo earlier, with someone who saw me when I was invisible. Finn caught her hand in his, pressing a gentle kiss to her palm. The gesture sent shivers through her body, her patterns brightening in response. I always saw you, he whispered, from the first moment in Port Haven. Their first kiss was gentle, tentative, the meeting of two worlds, two species, two hearts. Senna's patterns glowed brighter than ever, casting soft light across both their faces. When they finally parted, both were breathing harder. The Council won't accept this, Dahlia's voice made them jump apart. She stood in the doorway, her perfect features twisted with confusion. A human, Senna, this is why you won't return. This is part of why, Senna replied, not moving from Finn's side. But mostly, I won't return because I've found where I belong, where I'm valued for who I am, not what I might be worth to the Council. Dahlia stared at them for a long moment, her patterns flickering with emotion. You really love him, she said finally. It wasn't a question. Yes, Senna answered simply. It was the first time she'd admitted it, even to herself. Then I hope you're ready for what comes next, Dahlia warned, because this changes everything. The trading outpost of Nova Junction sprawled across 3 interconnected asteroids, its biodomes glowing like pearls against the velvet black of space. The Star Wanderer had docked for supplies and trade negotiations, but Senna's mind was elsewhere as she watched Finn haggle with local merchants. Since their first kiss 2 weeks ago, something had changed between them literally. Her meridian biology was responding to their growing intimacy in unexpected ways. When they touched, her patterns would synchronize with his heartbeat. When they kissed, she could sense his emotions as clearly as her own. It's called the resonance, Dahlia had explained before departing at the last port. It's why the Council is so interested in you. No meridian has ever formed such a bond with another species. Now watching Finn work, Senna could feel his satisfaction at securing a good deal, his amusement at the merchant's dramatic haggling style, and underneath it all, a constant warm awareness of her presence. Quite a specimen you've got there, a smooth voice interrupted her thoughts. A tall man with silver-streaked black hair and expensive clothes had appeared beside her. Rook Blackthorn, he introduced himself with a slight bow, rare antiquities dealer. I don't understand, Senna said politely, though something about his presence made her uneasy. You're human, Rook clarified, nodding toward Finn. Not many of them can trade successfully in the outer rings, but then not many of them have a meridian guide. His eyes lingered on her facial patterns, especially one so unique. Before Senna could respond, she felt Finn's spike of concern through their bond. He appeared at her side, his casual stance belied by the tension she could feel radiating from him. Blackthorn, Finn's greeting was cool. Didn't expect to see you this far from the core worlds. Harrison, Rook smiled, all teeth. I go where the rare finds are. Speaking of which, his gaze returned to Senna, I'd love to discuss a business proposition with your lovely companion. Not interested, Senna said firmly. You haven't heard my offer, Rook persisted. The Collectors Guild would pay handsomely for insights into Meridian culture, especially from someone with your special attributes. Finn's anger flared through their bond. She's not for sale, Blackthorn. Everything's for sale, Harrison, it's just a matter of price. Rook produced a crystalline card. When you tire of playing cargo hauler, contact me, I can offer you a much more profitable arrangement. Later in their quarters, Senna found Finn brooding by the viewport. You're worried, she said, feeling his emotions churn. Blackthorn doesn't show up unless there's something valuable to be gained, he turned to face her. And he's not known for taking no for an answer. Senna stepped into his arms, pressing her face against his chest. His heartbeat immediately synchronized with her patterns, creating the now familiar resonance between them. I'm not going anywhere, she assured him. I know, his arms tightened around her. But it's not just Blackthorn, your sister, the council, the Collectors Guild, they all want to study you, use you, this gift you have. The resonance, she looked up at him. It's not just my gift, it's ours. What's happening between us, it's never happened before in my species' history. A meridian bonding with a human. Is that what this is? Finn's hand traced one of her glowing patterns. A bond. Instead of answering with words, Senna kissed him, letting the resonance flow freely between them. In that moment, there was no barrier between species, no separation of self, just the pure connection of two souls who had found each other across the vastness of space. When they finally parted, Senna's patterns were glowing so brightly they lit the entire cabin. That's what this is, she whispered. Then we'll face whatever comes together, Finn said softly. Blackthorn, the council, anyone else who tries to separate us. They spent the rest of the night talking, planning, and simply being together. Unaware that elsewhere on Nova Junction, Rook Blackthorn was making calls to some very interested parties about the unprecedented phenomenon of a human meridian bond. In the artificial dawn of the space station, Senna woke to find her patterns had left ghostly impressions on Finn's skin where they had touched during the night. The marks were fading, but their presence confirmed what she had suspected. The resonance was growing stronger, changing them both in ways no one could have predicted. Beautiful, Finn murmured, having woken to find her studying the marks. Like stardust stuck to my skin. Senna traced one of the fading patterns on his chest. We should be careful, no one knows what this much contact between our species might do. Are you afraid? He asked, catching her hand and bringing it to his lips. No, she replied honestly, feeling their hearts synchronize through the resonance. Whatever changes come, they're worth it to be with you. Neither of them spoke their deeper fear, that others might not see their union as the miracle it was, but as a threat to be contained or a resource to be exploited. For now, they simply held each other, their love creating its own light in the darkness of space. The marketplace on Centauri Prime was supposed to be neutral ground, but Senna could feel the stares following her and Finn as they moved through the crowded stalls. Her patterns, now permanently brightened by their deepening bond, drew attention from every species they passed. They're just jealous, Finn whispered, his thumb stroking her hand reassuringly. Through their resonance, she felt his protective instincts warring with his amusement at the situation. We do make a striking couple. Their playful moment was interrupted by a group of Meridian merchants blocking their path. Unlike the last time Senna had encountered her people, these ones didn't whisper or look away. Instead, they stared openly at the place where her hand joined Finn's. You dishonor our entire species, one of them said in their native tongue, mixing your essence with a human's. Finn tensed beside her, unable to understand the words but feeling her distress through their bond. Before either could respond, another voice cut through the tension. The only dishonor here is judging what you don't understand. A striking Meridian woman stepped forward from the crowd. Her patterns were similar to Senna's of broken starbursts that marked her as one of the evolved ones. I'm Nefel, she introduced herself, switching to common speech, and you two need to come with me, now. Minutes later, they found themselves in a hidden tea house, surrounded by other Meridians bearing irregular patterns. Some sat with partners of different species, though none showed signs of the intense bonding that Senna and Finn shared. We call ourselves the Unbound, Nefel explained, pouring a shimmering liquid into delicate cups. Those of us who believe evolution means moving beyond old limitations. There are more like me, Senna asked, her patterns pulsing with excitement. More every cycle, Nefel nodded, though none have achieved what you have. Her gaze moved between them. The resonance bond with a non-Meridian was thought impossible. Finn leaned forward. Is it dangerous, the bond? All change carries risk, Nefel replied cryptically, but perhaps the greater risk lies in remaining static, unchanged. She touched her own irregular patterns. Our species stands at a crossroads. Some, like the Council, fear change. Others, like Rook Blackthorn, seek to exploit it. Senna's patterns dimmed at the mention of Rook. You know him. He's been collecting data on evolved meridians for cycles, selling information to the highest bidders. Nefel's expression darkened. But your bond with Finn, that's something entirely new, something that could change everything. Through their resonance, Senna felt Finn's growing unease. Change what exactly? Before Nefel could answer, the tea house's hidden entrance burst open. Rook Blackthorn stood there, flanked by armed figures in Collectors Guild uniforms. Change the balance of power in this sector, Rook answered smoothly. Did you really think I wouldn't track you here? What happened next seemed to unfold in slow motion. The guild agents moved forward. Nefel and the other Unbound scattered. Finn pulled Senna behind him, but their bond betrayed them, their synchronized patterns making them impossible to lose in the chaos. The resonance between you is worth a fortune to the right buyers, Rook called out as they backed away. Think of the possibilities. The first successful human-meridian bonding could revolutionize interspecies relations. We're not an experiment, Finn growled, but Senna felt his fear for her outweighing his anger. Everything's an experiment, Rook replied. Everything's a commodity, even love. The word sparked something in Senna. Love, not a commodity, not an experiment, but the force that had given her back her life, her dignity, her future. Her patterns flared suddenly, blindingly bright, and through their bond she felt Finn's strength joining with hers. The resulting burst of energy sent Rook and his agents stumbling backward, their targeting systems overloaded by the intense light. In the confusion, Nefel appeared beside them, gesturing toward a hidden exit. Go, she urged. We'll hold them off, but remember you're not just running for yourselves now, what you represent, what you've achieved together. It's hope for all of us who dare to evolve beyond our boundaries. As they fled through Centauri Prime's winding back alleys, Senna and Finn's patterns pulsed in perfect synchronization, lighting their way through the darkness. They were fugitives now, pursued not just by those who feared their union, but by those who sought to profit from it. Yet through their resonance, they shared not fear but determination. Their love hadn't just changed them, it was changing the very possibilities of what could exist between species. And that made it worth any price they might have to pay. Back aboard the Star Wanderer, as they broke orbit and disappeared into the star-streaked canvas of space, Senna and Finn held each other close. Their patterns painted shifting constellations across their skin, writing a new story in light, one of love that transcended biology, culture, and the very boundaries of what everyone thought possible. The ancient space station known as the Nexus hung like a tarnished jewel at the edge of known space. Built by a long-vanished civilization, it had become a sanctuary for those who lived between worlds. As the Star Wanderer docked in one of its weathered bays, Senna and Finn stood at the viewport, their joined patterns casting shifting lights across the bridge. 3 months of running had changed them both. Their resonance had grown so strong that separation was physically painful, their patterns now permanently intertwined. But they weren't alone anymore. Across the galaxy, other evolved Meridians and their chosen partners had begun emerging from hiding, inspired by their story. The Council ship is already here, Senna noted, spotting the sleek Meridian vessel. Through their bond, Finn felt her mixture of anxiety and resolve. So is Rook's, he added, recognizing the Collectors Guild craft. Neutral ground for the meeting, just as Nefel arranged. They had agreed to this summit as a last resort. The constant pursuit was wearing them down, and their growing bond was becoming harder to hide. Something had to change. The meeting chamber was circular, its ancient walls covered in spiraling scripts from extinct civilizations. The Meridian Council members sat on one side, their perfect patterns rigid with disapproval. Rook and his guild representatives occupied another section, their calculating gazes fixed on Senna and Finn's joined patterns. Nefel and a group of Unbound completed the circle, their irregular patterns gleaming in solidarity. This union cannot be allowed to continue, the council elder began. It threatens the purity of our species. Purity? Nefel scoffed. Look at them. Their bond has achieved something we never thought possible. Evolution isn't contamination, it's advancement. Precisely why they should be studied properly, Rook interjected smoothly. Under controlled conditions, of course, the potential applications. We're not here to be studied, Finn's voice cut through the chamber, and we're not here to ask permission to exist. Senna stepped forward, her patterns brightening. We're here to show you what's possible when we stop fearing change. Through their resonance, they reached for each other's strength, and something extraordinary happened. Their combined patterns began to pulse with a rhythm that spread outward, touching everyone in the chamber. For a brief moment, all present council members, guild agents, and Unbound alike felt the echo of their bond. This is what you fear, Senna asked the stunned council. This connection, this love. This is what you want to cage and study, Finn addressed Rook. You can't contain this any more than you can bottle starlight. In the silence that followed, Dahlia stepped forward from among the council members. Her own patterns had begun to show subtle irregularities, though she had kept them hidden until now. Sister, she addressed Senna, but her words were for everyone. We can't stop evolution. We can only choose whether to embrace it or be left behind. One by one, other council members revealed their own changing patterns. The rigid uniformity they had fought so hard to maintain was already transforming from within. Rook stood abruptly. The guild withdraws its interest in this matter. His cold smile didn't reach his eyes. There's no profit in studying something that's becoming common knowledge. As the chamber erupted in discussion, Senna and Finn slipped away to the station's observation deck. Through the ancient windows, the galaxy spiraled before them, infinite in its possibilities. "What now?" Finn asked, drawing her close. Their patterns danced together, creating new constellations on their skin. "Now we go home," Senna smiled, touching his face. "All of us who dare to love beyond boundaries." "And where's home?" Her patterns brightened as she kissed him. "Wherever we're together." In the months that followed, the Nexus became a gathering place for those who chose to love across species lines. The Star Wanderer, with Senna and Finn at its helm, carried their story to the far reaches of space. Their love had done more than change two people. It had opened a door that could never be closed. The Meridian Council eventually accepted the evolution of their species, recognizing that strength came from adaptation, not isolation. The Collectors Guild found their profits in documenting rather than exploiting the growing phenomenon of interspecies bonds. And throughout the galaxy, those who dared to love differently began to emerge from the shadows. Years later, when asked about the patterns that marked their skin like starlit maps, Senna and Finn would simply smile. Their love story was written in light across their bodies, a testament to the truth they had discovered, that the heart's evolution couldn't be contained by the boundaries of species or space. They had become living proof that love, in all its forms, was the most powerful force of evolution in the universe. Their patterns continued to shift and grow, writing new chapters in their story with every passing day as they journeyed together through the endless stars.